Yeah, what it do, what it does. What it does, love. I didn't even know I'd be record. I'd be trying to go to the video. And it's just, I guess that the going to the video is video. So anyway, I wanted to talk about some stuff that went down. I was talking to this guy yesterday, last night, and I felt like it was something that should be shared. My bad, it's a little hazy in here. If it get a little too bad, I crack a window, but it is what it is. So she was asking. She was like, what do you believe like in like the Illuminati? Like, do you believe in that? And I was like, no, I don't believe in it. Like, I know that there is a faction overseeing the social paradigm. Like, this is something that I know. She said, well, how do you know? I said, well, it was a progression of my spiritual studies. Is how it happened. Like, so what happened was, right? What ended up happening was I was really digging into the King James Version Bible. I was really delving into those Christian studies because I wanted to know. My childhood was different. You know what I mean. Like I was explaining to her. Like, my childhood was like, we spent a lot of time in the building called the church. There wasn't any sort of secular music played in my household. It was all BET, MTV. Like, so what people talk about, like the old school R&B that parents listen to, that's not the childhood I grew up with. My childhood was gospel music and classical music and jazz. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are the type of harmonies, and that's the type of vibe that I grew up in. I'm not saying that the household was perfect. It was a lot of chaos. It was a lot of anger. You know what I mean? And a lot of abuse, verbal abuse and physical abuse. That went on in the house. But that's beside the point. Regardless, it was still a certain type of vibe acoustically that was set, and spiritually that was intended to be set. You know what I mean? And it went a long way, but it also programmed with a certain type of vibration. So anyway, the thing is, uh, yeah. So when I became an adult, I really wanted to know because I knew I couldn't research these things when I was younger. I still needed to live life before I knew I could fully commit to my spiritual growth in my past. So when I became an adult, I started to ask those questions, and I was in my car one time. I was reading the Bible, the King James Version Bible, and I was like, I got to a point where something happened where it was like, um, somebody had died and they were sprinkling ash on themselves and they were dressed in sackcloth. So I was wondering, like, well, where did that come from? What does that mean? And the Bible is not explaining this to me. So I'm like agitated a little bit, like, Lord, talk to me like you'll talk to these other people, because however you like you talk to these prophets and so you talk to these other beings in the Bible, other individuals in the Bible, because I don't want to have to wait in line. I've seen a lot of people waiting in line at the church that I grew up in, and waiting for answers from the pastor. I was like, no, I want to get my answers from you. You know what I mean? So put me in a position to where I will hear, and where I can listen, and I'll do it. Put me in a position to where you'll talk to me, and I'll do whatever it takes to be able to hear you. So um, like the next day or the day after that, I was led to this book. Well, I was awakened, I should say, in an extension of my family's house, and I was led into another room to this bookshelf that had just been placed up there like a week prior. It was downstairs in the bathroom, and moved it up this bookshelf into the dining room. So I walked from the extension in my house where I was asleep at, woke up, was walked into this other room where the bookshelf is at. My eyes fixed on the book. I realize that this is happening. I say, "What am I looking at?" And I reach forward and grab the book, and this book is called God's Plan for Man. So when I saw the book, I was ecstatic. I was excited. I was like, "Oh, these are the answers. This is what I wanted to know. Like, what is the plan? What's going on?" Because Bible was put in that context. So anyway, within this book, though, my point is within this book, which is a study guide Bible, it explained how there were social controllers, and this book was written in like the I want to say like the 50s, 60s. It was written by Reverend Finis Dick. You can look it up now. There's many different versions of it now, many revisions, but this version was the older version, like one of the originals, if not the first. And it spoke about these different social controllers and how there's international bankers that are in control of an aspect of society, and there's um, a religious faction that's in control of society to an aspect, which is like the Roman Catholic, their whole set up their whole organization. And so these two factions are in some ways kind of at odds to a degree because they're two different ends of the spectrum, you know what I mean? But they also, I'm sure, work together on different projects as well. But this book, the Study Guide Bible, is talking about this book, talking about this dynamic of society within this book. So this is where the awareness of it came from, conclusively from this book, this Study Guide Bible. And so yeah, that's how I became aware of it, and I studied and grew from that information from there. You know what I mean? Uh, but yeah, my that's a part of my experience. Like that's not something I'm making up. That's just part of my story. Uh, so it just made my depth and my pursuit of information, my pursuit of truth. It just made me look at things a little bit differently. Um, but it's things that I know within my heart, ironclad. It's nothing that you could do to shake that. It's all about, do you want to grow and build together, or or don't you? You know what I mean? But regardless, I'm gonna continue to do what I do. That is what it is. So anyway, I just wanted to put that down. How I became aware of that, and the importance of understanding that um, as we move forward. Certainly in the past, I mean, it's obvious, but it's still like you can't understand the magnitude of it sometimes. But I just wanted to put that, and it was even another aspect to that, to where, like, I had started breaking bread with my father, and I was telling him I was getting on my path. I was starting studying and stuff like that. And he told me, he said, you know what you need to get? You need to get you a Dake Bible. He suggested it to me, and I'm like what? Like, bro, you don't even know how I came across this book. Like, bro, I was awakened, walked into another room, led, focused on, like, my body was taken over, and I was led to this book. So I don't know what you're talking about, you know what I mean? So I flipped the book over, and it ends up being a Dake Bible, which was crazy. Like, it was a Dake Bible, and I didn't even know it. So that was, and this is my father who suggested this to me, who I really wasn't breaking bread with at the time. So it just goes to show, what you need to grow on your path, you're going to receive. It's going to be given to you. You know what I mean? You just put your heart in that space to be able to uh, be ready to receive it, and really ask with your heart. You know what I mean? Not just with the desire to want knowledge, but with the heart to want to grow, so that you can be a tool of service to help other people grow. You know what I'm saying? And that'll get you anything and everything that your heart asks for. You know what I mean? That your heart can desire. That sort of vibration will get you there. You know what I mean? And magnetize it to you. So anyway, I just wanted to put that down and share that. Sending love, listen vibrations, listen power to each and every one of you. I love you. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep growing. Commit to the grit. And keep rocking and rolling.